Chris Paul and the Clippers, unfortunately, now go down like the Denver Nugget Carmelo. And it's unfortunate.
Yeah.
It's a shame.
All right, so y'all know Chris Paul was released from the Clippers. They say Chris Paul was basically hard to work with for the team. Let's see what the Joe Budden podcast had to say about this. Make sure you like the video and subscribe. Let's get it.
What else we got?
I'm feeling bad for Chris Paul.
Yeah. They did him dirty.
That was nasty. That was nasty.
Maybe, but
Maybe?
maybe. But I feel like there's more to the story. I'm hearing there's more to the story. And it's almost always more to the story. When some shit happens that don't make sense, it's usually because you don't have enough information. That's my general rule of thumb in life. But I still didn't like the way this went down.
I don't.
Well, what can you tell us about what you heard?
Well, let me tell the audience the story first. Chris Paul was basically effectively waived from the LA Clippers in what was his farewell season.
At like 4 a.m.
If at like 4 a.m. he said
On
he
a
got
road trip.
On a road trip. We saw because he posted on social media. I was just told to stay home, or I was sent home. Now, according to Bleacher Report and some other places, one of the big execs from the Clippers did fly out to talk to him about it. But ultimately, he was told to not return to the team. This was his last season, and I think that's important.
Lawrence Frank said he'll take the blame for it, which means that it ain't him.
Right, exactly. He's taking the fall for it, exactly.
Yeah, and they're saying that, and I'd love to hear what you heard, but what they're also saying is he was around and they're just trying to hold people accountable. Some of the players, some of the front office members. That's where I get confused a little bit because I don't know how much holding people accountable I'd be doing in my retirement season.
Yeah.
That's who he is, bro. Yeah, I was going to say, that's who he is, bro.
Yeah, but sometimes you don't want to hear that shit from someone who's not really that
anymore. He's not that.
He's not that anymore.
But that's a problem.
And you got to know when to not be what you are.
Yeah.
You have to know when to not be what you are. This is your last season.
Okay.
You requested, hey, I want to end it here with my Lob City history. This is where I want to be. Go out there, let us salute you, let the crowd wave, call it a day.
Mail it in, bro.
Especially as a team player, like you're a point guard, like a notorious team player.
No, the point guard is the spokesman for the team that holds everybody accountable.
Sometimes
that's your role.
The starting point guard.
Wait. What y'all want him to do though?
Yeah,
y'all confusing
crazy.
me. Yo, I don't have a chip. I think that this team has enough talent for me to get to the chip, which they do. And y'all out here.
No, they don't.
Yes, they do.
No, they don't.
You're bugging.
You think the Los Angeles Clippers have enough talent?
Yes.
You think they could get past the Nuggets? I mean the Thunder?
Yes.
No, you don't.
You think the LA Clippers can get past the Thunder?
Pull up their record right now.
Listen to what I'm saying.
think
Before this flips into some stupid shit, I think they have enough talent to potentially beat any team in 7 games if they all on the same page.
Yeah, I don't see
You can't name 6 players from the Clippers.
Who can't name 6 players from the
You
Clippers?
Go.
Well, I'm not gonna put you to the test, but what's the talent you see on the Clippers?
Clippers are 6-16. Kawhi is still Kawhi. I think
He's not still Kawhi, but
Kawhi could get you 30 points on any night.
yeah, but just not
Any night he plays.
Not every night,
That part.
right?
Yeah.
I think James Harden is James Harden.
He's not.
And that's an old
Listen to what I'm
version.
saying. I'm not saying he's going to get you 50. I think he's still good. They got arguably a top 3 center in the NBA, arguably. So I think that they have enough talent with the role players and all of that stuff with those 3 guys to win some games.
I think they win.
Last year they was good. Last year toward the end of the season they
won
started
some
kicking
games.
ass.
And I know the season just
Not the
started.
same
They're
team
in
as last year.
13th place in the Western
Yeah,
Conference.
they're not a good team.
They're going nowhere fast, and the team that they traded SGA to has their draft pick this year.
So if you're
That whole shit is a dumpster fire and a dumpster right now. What I'm
On top
saying
of the
is,
Pablo
I'm
Torres
not having a talent argument.
Look,
with you.
that's what I'm saying. Based on, the organization is some bullshit. They have been bullshit for a decade. You come back
Really,
here and you
forever.
like, yo, fam, I've been on teams. Chris Paul took a team that was worse than the Clippers to the playoffs in OKC. That team wasn't shit. He took them.
I don't remember that team.
Yeah,
right now.
he took them to the playoffs. So he looking at it like, yo, fam, I've done more and got more out of less. Y'all, it's y'all effort, it's y'all this, it's y'all that. And he feels like he can speak to that based on, I'm Chris Paul.
He's wrong.
That's a matter of opinion.
I don't think he's wrong.
Well, it's not a matter of opinion.
I don't think so either. They sent him home.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah. But you're saying the should. He should be able to do that.
I think so.
Clearly he
Absolutely
can't
he
because they
should.
sent him
I think
home.
so.
But I think you think he should. I think if you're a legend and you're a vet, you should be able to speak out even if you're not that person anymore.
True.
When Gary Payton goes to Miami,
True.
the year they won the championship, in fact, he's still a vet and he's still Gary Payton. He should be able to say some shit. I don't care if you Shaq. I don't give a you the Cleveland Cavaliers Shaq. You
Boston Celtics Shaq.
Boston
I can still
Celtics
sit
Shaq.
here and talk shit.
You should be able to talk some shit.
I agree.
But
To a point.
that's where I'm going. And Chris Paul, and I've been hearing this for over a decade.
He's a dick, they said.
I wasn't gonna say that.
They say he's a dick.
But he wears on people. I'll say that. Teammates say that he wears on people.
hard to get along with.
He's hard to get along with. And so if you are, I remember when Allen Iverson was late to practice every day for his whole career. But when he came back to Philly the last time and he lost his first step, suddenly being late to practice was a bigger deal.
Yeah, now it means
because you're not right. Chris Paul's always warned people, warned on teammates. But now that you're not the guy that can give you 20 and 10 every night, they don't want to hear that shit. And I think from what I've heard from some players in the league this week is that there was a significant tension between him and Tyronn Lue that had grown over the course of the year, and so Tyronn Lue didn't want him back.
Makes sense.
Also, what I'll say, maybe even unfairly, because I didn't get this from nowhere, but when the news broke, the first person I thought of was James Harden.
Yeah, I did too.
Because you have a repeat teammate
Yes.
on your team that was with you in Houston, where you also kind of got the
They didn't get along at all.
shaft.
Yeah.
So,
But
I mean,
that's not new. For the last decade, they've been saying he's hard to get along with. He demands excellence. All the other shit, they was like, yo, like they're not even sure when they started talking about the Laker trade if him and Kobe would have butt heads or if they would have just been thick as thieves because they both approached the game with this intensity that's insane.
also with NBA teams, the bad ones specifically, when they're losing, trust you me that somebody in the front office is tasked with figuring out why they're losing, the personnel, the plays, the coach. So if I'm in the middle of a losing season, I'm not going nowhere. Pablo Torre just outed my man. He can't even plant the trees no more. James Harden is carrying this. Norman Powell is in Miami looking like every bit of that. Every bit of that dude. The last thing I want if I'm the front office is legendary Chris Paul coming back here telling me all the ways that we're fucking up, and then bringing that in the locker room, telling that to some of the players with the enthusiasm, the level of enthusiasm and effort you need in there. Yeah, you don't want that. And you have to feel like the Clippers know who Chris Paul is.
Yeah.
They know the backlash that was going to happen.
They do.
They know that they was going to get killed for this, and they did it anyway. So, I mean...
I think you might be giving them too much credit there.
And I think you might be...
Everything that's common sense for a team to know, the Clippers seem to do the opposite.
And I think you might have it wrong. They might have brought him there to be the veteran spark on the team to motivate these niggas and hold them accountable. That's a possibility.
I'm sure that's probably
Because
part
they
of it.
go get
Especially if you
veteran
think they
niggas
win.
in the locker room. You go get veteran people in your locker room to kind of corral the younger troops.
But how many of them do you need if you got Kawhi Leonard and
He's
James
not vocal.
Harden?
He's
Leonard
not
don't
vocal.
talk.
He's not vocal. James Harden might not be the most vocal
And James
leader.
Harden might not talk neither if it's a strip club in the city we playing in.
You know what I'm saying? So you got to get PJ Tucker, those type of dudes to kind of corral the troops.
Right.
I'm split in this. On one hand, I think no matter what Chris Paul does, you don't do that to him.
I feel like
That's
there's
where I
another way
stand
to
at
do
with
it. Say he's injured or something.
There's a
You know
more
what I mean?
professional way to do it.
There's a better way to do
Yeah,
that.
that's nasty. That was nasty.
Time out. They might have tried to do that. He's the one that took it to Twitter.
But he wouldn't have gone to Twitter if they were working together to come up with
Or
something.
not just that, you'll tell me in the middle of the night, yo, dogs, we sending you home.
What's up with
Like
that?
it's a way to even do that
It's
part.
a way to do
maybe the
that.
next day, maybe we wait till we get
That's
back
true.
and we put you
So
on
y'all
injury.
saying that was spiteful?
That shit was nasty.
It was
man.
on purpose, though. It was
look-
supposed to be
that
what it
shit was
was.
nasty.
Okay.
I
I still think there's some
That's
information missing.
unfortunate.
One thing that I'm excited about for Chris Paul is a chance for him to finish this season. He's going to finish it somewhere else. And I'm hoping he gets to finish it someplace where
Charlotte?
he can But I just want him to finish somewhere where he can play some meaningful
Charlotte.
basketball.
When the last time you
I don't
seen
think
a
they take
Hornet
it.
game?
I love that.
It's a mess.
Yeah.
We just played them the other night. They got a bunch of dudes you can't name. They got a bunch of 19-year-olds, and Lonzo Ball almost made 8 threes and brought him back from a 20-point deficit. There's nothing else going on over there.
I'd love to either see him be on a competitive environment for a playoff spot or a championship, go to an elite team and play just a couple minutes, or I'd like them to see a team like that where he's going to play a lot of minutes, even if they're not going very far, but he can at least finish his career playing real basketball, 25, 30 minutes a night. I'd like to see one of those two things. I'd hate to see him at the end of a bench on a team that's not going nowhere.
I would want to say that I wouldn't mind seeing him in some type of backup role on the Knicks, but the very first time I see him talking to Jalen Brunson aggressively, I'm getting him the fuck out of there.
Right.
I don't want to see that.
Yeah.
So where do y'all think he goes?
What'd you say?
Where do y'all think he goes?
To bed.
No.
Go to
question.
bed.
No,
Go
no,
to bed.
no.
I don't know why people have such a hard time going to bed.
Chris Paul for me,
He got to finish
top
out
10
the
point guard
season.
of all time. One of the best point guards of his generation. I think he deserves a farewell tour.
I think people thinking that they deserve shit is...
I mean, I don't know if he thinks he deserves it. I just, as a fan, would even love to say goodbye to him.
Chris Paul and the Clippers, unfortunately, now go down like the Denver Nugget Carmelo. And it's unfortunate.
Yeah.
It's a shame.
But I think a lot of the tension was in practice and in the locker room afterwards. It's not like he's on the court like saying you should have got on top of that screen. It's more like in practice, like what the fuck are y'all doing?
Yeah, I think he's
And
still a
then
competitor, yo. Like
I'm
some
sure.
of that shit really be in people.
And a
Like,
coach.
If I'm out here, I'm doing this to the best of my ability, even if I'm not who I used to be.
Even if it's to his detriment.
Yes.
But I would have to imagine.
that's all I know.
I would have to imagine, maybe I'm wrong, that there was a conversation before the conversation. I'm sure at some point during this short part of the season that we're into, someone said, "Yo, you can chill out a little bit, bro. You're not here for this."
They wasn't looking.
I don't think they just said, "You know what? Get the fuck out of here."
I agree. And it don't look like they were looking to do this the smoothest way possible. They let him pack for a road trip.
Yeah.
I think something happened.
I think, yeah.
That's
I
what I'm
think
saying.
so.
There's something.
The straw that broke the camel's back happened on that road trip.
sure.
And it was like, you know what? We not even, yo, you got to go.
All right, now let me come in and give y'all some hard NBA facts. Number one, CP3 has always had this reputation of being hard to get along with, being somebody who wants to win. Honestly, the older he got and the more he realized I need a championship to legitimize my career, I think the more he got amped up in them locker rooms. But before Draymond Green was known as the most hated player in the NBA, it was Chris Paul who was known as the most dirty player, always fouling somebody inappropriately, always getting in people's faces. I feel like Steph Curry might have humbled him a little bit from constantly, crossing him over and breaking his ankles. But still, a lot of people have talked about Chris Paul, being a little too amped in the locker room and on the court. But I do have to give Chris Paul some bail because you want to bring in James Harden, Joe. But look, Russell Westbrook didn't get along with James Harden in Houston. And I know some of y'all might say, well, Chris Paul and Russell Westbrook are both problematic, but they both played with James Harden in Houston, who had that inflated ego. You saw how James Harden forced himself out of Houston. I feel like now is the most humble we've seen James Harden. Because I still think he was a little too cocky in Brooklyn too. But he was getting injured. And also, we might look at James Harden and say, because of the system in Houston, that's what made him so successful and made him put up all of those stats. It was basically James Harden and everybody else who could catch and shoot and get an alley-oop. Okay? So now we see James Harden out of that system, and I'll give it to you, he hasn't been healthy, but we only see sparks of the old James Harden now. I do like how he's playing for the Clippers. And also I go to Ish and I say the Clippers are a good team. If they could get it together and mesh well, they could be okay. Yeah, Kawhi's old. He ain't really doing the things we used to seeing him doing. But I'll put Kawhi on the list of people who should have went to the Lakers. Klay Thompson should have went to the Lakers. Paul George should have went to the Lakers. And Kawhi should have went to the Lakers. But everybody want to act like it's because of LeBron. And you see how all of these guys that had a chance to go to the Lakers, how their career has panned out. My whole point is James Harden on the Clippers now is supposed to take some of the weight off of Kawhi. If you had an opportunity to go to the Lakers and you got LeBron James and Anthony Davis to take some of that weight off of you, yeah, some of your stats might go down, but you can stay healthy. You got a chance to win. You're playing in LA, the better LA team. What's not to like? That's all I'm saying. But Then we get to this point where they're talking about, well, Chris Paul was supposed to be the vet coming into the locker room. That Clippers team ain't that young. It's not. I think this move was primarily about Chris Paul, Lob City. He's coming back to the Clippers. Let's get him this farewell tour. But that farewell tour-ish gets on my nerves so bad. I'm tired of hearing it. You didn't hear that back in the day when guys was getting older. It's like, look, bro, you made millions of dollars. Everybody who's going to consider you a great player, they're going to do that whether or not you get a farewell tour or not. It's still people that look at AI and say he was great. He should have got a championship. We talk about him stepping over Ty Lue, which we'll get to in a second. But how he left the league, some people might feel like that put a bad taste in his mouth, but younger people, they don't remember that. They don't think about that. They just know AI and the highlights. And most of the people who are older, we still give AI his credit for, how he handled himself on the court. And so we always give AI that credit. How you went out of the game is not as important as some people make it seem. We don't hold that against Michael Jordan. We talk about it from time to time, but that didn't destroy his legacy, how he left off with the Washington Wizards. So this whole farewell tour is overrated. Everybody doesn't need it. And it's okay, bro. You was in the NBA. You did something a lot of people didn't do. You made a lot of money. It's over with now. Everybody don't have to go you before you leave the NBA. I know some people might want it, but I don't think it's really needed like that. And I don't know if he'll get picked up by somebody else. We'll see. But I feel like if he was going to get picked up, we would have heard something by now. I haven't heard any whispers about people who want him. Y'all tell me if I'm wrong. I haven't been paying attention that much, but I haven't heard anything about people saying, let's bring Chris Paul in right now. I saw some people saying, well, maybe he could get in for OKC. Do OKC want to bring him in right now? When they meshing like that, do they want to risk the chemistry they got going on? So then we get to the whole Ty Lue situation of it, which is they look at each other like peers. Chris Paul is not going to look at Ty Lue like he's a coach. And I'm sure you can say the same thing about LeBron and other people when they had players who are coaches now coaching them. But with Chris Paul's attitude, I think he was probably in that locker room feeling like he was the coach, and Ty Lue like, hell no, I'm the coach. You the player, you got to fall in line. Yeah, was he probably yelling at James Harden? Sure. Was he probably, being a little tough on Kawhi? Who knows? Because I feel like at this point, everybody knows who Kawhi is. Kawhi seems very sensitive. He don't seem like the guy that responds to, tough criticism. I don't think that's what I get from him. I can't say anything I heard behind the scenes. But anyway, I feel like everybody else knew what they was getting into when they picked up Chris Paul. I think the person who would really be pushing back at a Chris Paul the most would be a Ty Lue. Maybe a James Harden will go to Ty Lue and go to management and say he doesn't like Chris Paul. But if you ask me, I feel like Ty Lue is the main reason that Chris Paul isn't there anymore. Because number one, if Ty Lue wanted him there, everybody else would have to fall in line. He could be the only person who could convince James Harden that, hey, Chris Paul is good here. We can use him. It might be some moments we might need him to step up if we make it to the playoffs. Hey, he's a veteran. He just cares. He's serious about winning. He could switch it around. James, are you serious about winning? You don't want Chris Paul here? By the way, I get it. James Harden is still a good player. But at the end of the day, do we think James Harden's wants and needs are being looked at the same way, let's say a Shea, let's say I can't say John Morant, but a Steph Curry, Anthony Edwards, Zion Williamson? Like James Harden, he's in his twilight years too. I don't think James Harden has the power to walk in to the management office and just say, I want Chris Paul gone, and that's it. It has to be multiple people backing that. And maybe that was the situation. Maybe James Harden, Ty Lue, and Kawhi, they all wanted him gone. But I just kind of feel like it was more about Ty Lue. I feel like it was more about Ty Lue. They keep saying him and Ty Lue had this feud. And I feel like it's because of what I just said. Chris Paul not looking at Ty Lue like a coach. He looking at him like a peer. And I can see Chris Paul looking at Ty Lue saying, you ain't running this team right. And I think that's why we in the situation we are with Chris Paul right now. So y'all tell me what y'all think about this. Like the video and subscribe. I'll see y'all next time. Peace.